So before going to EC2 instances and start configuring EC2 instances inside the AWS, I would like to talk a little bit about the way that we can deal with the EC2s and what kind of options do we have and what kind of consideration we need to have before dealing with them. As you can see in this slide, we need to consider some of the informations and some of the technical aspects of EC2 instances in advance before start configuring them. First thing that we need to consider about any instances is that we need to consider how much CPU and how much memory we want to use in our EC2 instances. So during the configuration of EC2 instances, we have to mention them and we have to configure them properly, and depends on the workload that you want to put on your machine, then you need to decide how much memory and CPU you need. It's a good idea before moving any workload to the cloud, you need to do some evaluation on your on-prem virtual machines, and there are some softwares out there. Companies like NetApp, like Cisco, they're offering some softwares that they can scan, they can evaluate all of your current situation on premise. Then you can decide how much memory and CPU you need to assign to your EC2 instances on the cloud. Another thing that you need to consider is about the type. So second option here is the type of the EC2 instance. Based on your workload and how much workload you have, you need to select which type of the EC2 instances you want to choose. We have different types and you can see them inside the console. After that, it's the OS and the version of the OS that you want to use, whether you want to use a Linux machine or whether you want to use a Microsoft, for example. What kind of application do you need inside these operating systems? And the next one is how you want to handle security for your EC2 instances. And do we want to just rely on the network access list? Do we want to put a security group on each EC2 instances, or we want to handle all the security on the VPC security group? How you want to access and how you want to authenticate to your EC2s. This is going to be based on the SSH key or IAM role. We need to decide all of them. And then we need to decide how would we want to purchase our EC2 instances. And the first one, as you can see, it's the on-demand one. I'll go through the on-demand first. You will see it in the next lecture. And then I'll talk about the reserve instances and I'll also talk about the spot request. So let's see how would be the on-demand purchase of EC2 instance inside AWS console. I'll see you then in the next one.